What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 51 of the Talkin ATL Hawks podcast. Ignore the fact that me and Andrew are wearing Falcons jerseys. I don't even want to talk about it. This episode will go on for hours if I start talking about the Falcons. So we're just going to pay attention to John wearing his Atlanta Hawks hat.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks today, which, to be fair, is not going to be so fun either because this has not been exactly the picture-perfect start for the year. Hasn't been horrible. We'll get into it, though. But before we get into it, I'm here with the best crew in the world, Andrew and John. Guys, how are y'all doing on this fine Sunday evening?
Well, before Andrew gets into his Falcons rant, if he's going to do that,
I'm not going
I'm
to.
doing great. I mean, Packers don't play until Sunday Night Football against our former legendary cornerback, Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to be very emotional watching that game tonight. Hopefully the Packers are going to win, but if we lose, I mean it's against our former Super Bowl winning quarterback. So I won't be too upset, but I mean, he is also 41. But anyways, my day's going good. How's y'all's day going?
Well,
that's a loaded question, John.
It is. Just to reiterate on that Steelers game, though, I actually did find out today that some people that our family's pretty close to is actually going to that game because they're Steelers fans. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But yeah, I'm not going to get into my Falcons rant because, it's the weather. I'm sitting right by a window right now, and the weather is gray, cold.
Oh yeah, no, dude, it is crappy outside. It is. Yeah,
but,
it's terrible out.
But you know what? It accurately reflects the inside of my body right now because that's exactly what my Sunday has been: just gray. Wet and gloomy in terms of sports. If you take the Falcons game out of the equation, my Sunday's actually been really good. But when it comes to sports, not good.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess we'll start getting to some Hawks basketball now. And here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the idea here. By now we open with a Starfish cut.
Yeah.
And I feel like like I mentioned before, this hasn't been the picture perfect start for the Atlanta Hawks. Now you can include the fact that through the first 3 games of the season, we've already missed some key players in some key games.
Yeah.
Talk about Zachary Ricochet and
Jalen Johnson yesterday.
Yeah, all of them. Of course, Zachary. Kristaps missing Orlando. Jalen Johnson, Zachary missing the game against the Thunder the other night. And it's just you can factor that into it, but there's also a lot of other inner issues that are going on that I think we can all agree with that we'll break down here in a little bit. But we're going to do our part as the Talking ATL Hawks podcast to try to stop the early cold streak that's already starting to begin just 3 games into the season. And we're going to try to flip the script and start pushing things in the right direction. A little thing I like to call manifestation, if you will.
Would you say, Chase, that we're going to put all of our chips on the table?
Yeah, we're going to do our part as a Talking ATL podcast, and we're just going to let the chips fall as they lay.
Oh, yeah. Let's go to Vegas.
You know what? That's what we need to do. We need to take a trip at Vegas, and we need to do a Talking ATL podcast live from Vegas because I feel like that would just fit perfectly into just what the NBA season even is right now.
I'm just gonna say
it's insane.
The NBA Cup is going to hit a lot harder this year whenever the teams go to Vegas for the championship. Because that's the capital of all sports betting right there.
I didn't even think about that, but that's so freaking true.
They should move it now. They should have it in some random city, I don't know, like Iowa City or something, some random ass place.
No team in the NBA deserves to go to Vegas right now. Vegas needs to be on lockdown from the NBA.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know what we're talking about, just look up NBA betting on Google and you'll see it's a mess. It's a mess.
I did hear, just a little quick side note. I did hear that Terry Rozier, who really opened up the door to all this
Yeah.
gambling, sports betting, mafia. Somehow the mafia is tied into all this. That just shows how deep the iceberg really is.
Yeah.
But apparently, I did hear that Terry Rozier is still going to get his full NBA contract despite being banned for practically the rest of the season. He's still going to get paid for it, which is kind of dumb. I don't really know how that worked out in his favor, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's been banned yet. I think he's just still being investigated, and like as of right now, he's suspended obviously until he's proven to be guilty. So I'm like, it's always innocent until proven guilty.
I'm not gonna lie though. I as much as I would love to Terry Rozier to stay in the season, it's not looking good for him, dude.
No.
It's not looking like he's beating the allegations.
In the midst of all the Blazers mess, of course, in case you didn't see, the guy who's taking the reins of Chauncey Billups at the head coach position at the intern spot is former Atlanta Hawks legend Thiago Cephalosha, and it is head coaching. Thiago Splitter, not Cephalosha. I'm sorry, Thiago Splitter. Thank you, Thiago Splitter. Excuse me. And in his first ever game as intern head coach, he absolutely dominated the Golden State Warriors. So shout out to you, Hawks legend. Anyways, I know we got a little sidetracked, but back to the start pitch cut. Heading into the season, a key talking point that we always mentioned was what's going to happen to Trae Young. What does this season mean to Trae Young? We always talked. We talked about that the first half of the season, like from opening day until All-Star break, is the most important part of the year because that's what's going to decide. There's Thiago Splitter. If you don't remember his face, he was a fun little role player we had back in the Dennis Schroeder, Dwight Howard days.
The dark days of the Hawks. Yeah.
Yes, not fun times.
That's what. That's when the Hawks were in downstairs below purgatory. Like right now we're sort of in purgatory on our way up to heaven. But this was when we were in HE double hockey sticks.
Look, we're on the waiting list for NBA Bliss. We just haven't got our name called yet.
This was back. If you want to know how far back it was, this was back during our Triforce era, which the real runs remember the horrible Triforce rebrand, and then the 17 the blonde 17 that Dan Shore used to have on the back of his head because he thought he cooked with that when that was really in the world.
It wasn't even the Triforce pattern that was ugly about it. It was the neon green. Yeah. Why did we bring neon green back?
I'll tell you. Sorry, just last rant, and then we can get back on your starvage cut. I promise I'm not interrupting anymore. You want to know what the worst jerseys in Atlanta Hawks history are?
I feel like you're gonna pull up the Pistol Pete jersey.
No, I'm talking about recently. This by far was the worst. These are hands down the worst jerseys in Atlanta Hawks history.
It's going to be during the Triforce era. It has to be.
Yes. These are – I can't even express to you how bad I hate these right here.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, the only reason why they're bad is because they don't match. The pants and the jersey really match.
That's the problem.
It's why it's bad.
I love the red. I love the red, but yes. Joyner's right. The pants do not match with the jersey at all. And then throw in the neon green numbers, it's atrocious.
I remember when the Hawks used to wear these on the road sometimes, and I would just cringe when I was watching the games because of how bad this combination looked. I kid you not when I say those are my worst jerseys in Hawks history.
I don't think that the neon green is that bad. I just think that just a combination of the red and the red jersey and the black pants like that. No,
thank you.
You always have matching matching pants and jersey. You shouldn't.
Thank goodness we rebranded and we finally got some good jerseys.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's back to the star pitch cut. Trae Young. We talked about from opening day to the All-Star break was the most important part of the season because that's what's really going to decide Trae Young's future with the Atlanta Hawks. We already saw that, he decided not to extend his contract at the moment. That could change, but I think that's all going to be solely on if the Hawks are true competitors for the NBA championship by All-Star break. And 3 games in, it's already looking iffy. Now, and we talked about, if let's say this season's a flop, let's say the season's a bust, it hits All-Star break, and it doesn't look like this is a championship contending team, then that's when we're either going to trade Trae Young at the All-Star break, or do the worst thing we could do, let the season finish out, let the season continue to be a bust. Season ends and we pray Trae Young re-signs with us, which would probably not happen. It'll be like a Los Angeles Angels Shohei Ohtani situation. Well, a giant superstar just walks away for absolutely nothing. So we talked about that a lot. We were like, if this, if that, if this. So we're going to face the harsh reality today. And we're going to say that this season's a bust. We are not contenders by the All-Star break, and Trae Young has to go. Let's set our hard feelings aside and let's swallow the tough pill. If Trae Young has to walk, I want y'all to pick 2 places that you think, like, just obviously we would hate to see Trae Young outside a Hawks jersey, but if we had to see him go, what are 2 teams you think would be the best fit for Trae Young that you could just see him thrive, and then a team that would just absolutely make you throw up if you see Trae Young rep that jersey?
I got mine easy.
All right, Andrew, what you got? So again, 2 teams. So it's like you're starting and benching 2 teams that you think, Trae Young would fit well in. Like you could see Trae Young thrive here. And then a team you would just like hate to wake up every day and see Trae Young wear this jersey.
Yeah. So I think in terms of thriving, I'm going to start from the bottom. And the team that I'd absolutely hate, that would disgust me the most, and I'm keeping it realistic because I think the worst place I'd ever want Trae Young to end up on is probably New York. Well, no, that's probably not the worst. But, obviously New York's not a realistic land spot because Jalen Brunson's going to be there for a while. So I'm keeping all mine down to what could really happen if we were to trade Trae Young. And the absolute worst possibility that I could very easily see happen is Trae Young goes over to either I'm gonna tie the third my least favorite. It's gonna be a tie between the Magic and the Heat because I can easily see Trae Young ending up in either the Heat or the Magic, and of course those being Southeastern Division rivals would absolutely just turn my guts upside down, and my little ding-a-ling would be inverted. I mean, my body would do all sorts of stuff that it's never done before. That's how much I would hate that. Going to the 2 teams that I think he could absolutely thrive and would be realistic landing spots for him. One being the Sacramento Kings. I mean, the Sacramento Kings had to go out and grab a last-minute free agent signing in Russell Westbrook just to find a threshold that they could break through when it comes to the point guard position, which is very bleak for Sacramento at the time. I mean, Sacramento really doesn't have a true playmaker on that team. I mean, Russell Westbrook can take up the ball up the court. He can be the one to get most of the inbounds. He can technically be at the top of the set plays, but at the end of the day, he's not an elite playmaker. I mean, even back when he was on OKC and during his 2016 MVP run, when he racked up all those assists, that was mainly just because of the teammates he had around him. But I wouldn't call Russell Westbrook an elite playmaker by any stretch of the imagination. But they've got good weapons around Westbrook right now in Sacramento. Zach LaVine's there. DeMar DeRozan is there. Domantas Sabonis is there. Like, the weapons are there. If you get Trae Young in that system with all those weapons around him, I know the bench is still pretty bad, but in terms of starting 5, Trae Young would probably average close to 14 assists in Sacramento. The other team that I could really see him thriving on is, Chase, you talked about swallowing some hard pills. I'm going to have to swallow a hard pill right now because I talked down on the Milwaukee Bucks before the season started. And yes, they're only 2 games into the season, but man, do they look a lot better than I thought they would. And I think talk about a team that needs a point guard right now, especially losing Damian Lillard. Let's say the Bucks were able to keep Giannis around and the Hawks trade Trae Young to Milwaukee at the All-Star break. Milwaukee instantly turns into Eastern Conference potential favorites if you put Trae Young in the mix with Giannis and Miles Turner being there.
Yeah, that would definitely keep Giannis in Milwaukee for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Hey, while you're on the topic of Milwaukee, Andrew, I just want to use this as a I told you so moment.
Didn't I just say that?
Oh, you cut out. You probably did, but you cut out for a little bit on my end.
Oh, you must have been cut out for like the last 5 minutes because I went on like a 2-minute rant talking about how
you just started talking about Milwaukee. What are you talking about?
No, I did the little analogy. I did the little analogy. I was like, Chase, you were talking about swallowing hard pills. So I'm going to have to swallow a hard pill myself and say that I know we're 2 games in, but the Bucks look a lot better than what I thought.
Yeah. You're completely cut out for that.
That was like a whole 2-minute rant. So you must have been lost in the cosmic space.
2 minutes is crazy.
But that's my list.
Okay.
All right, John, what you got for us?
I'm gonna stick on the same for teams that make me throw up. If like Trae Young went to these teams, I'm gonna stick to the same sort of mindset that Andrew had, but I'm not gonna have the exact same teams. I'm gonna go with the Wizards because I do think that because I know they have Trey Johnson. I know that they have Trey Johnson. I know that they have Bob Carrington, but Trae Young is the best playmaker in the NBA. We know that for a fact. Like him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like him paired with Chris Middleton. Alex Sarr. Come on now.
Well. And Jameer Watkins is showing a lot of promise at the G League level right now. So you got to think with as minute as that lineup is right now, he's probably going to get the call up in maybe a month or two. And then Jameer Watkins, if he starts producing like he is right now at the NBA level, you put Trae Young in there. I mean, that's a good veteran presence to have around a young core.
And then the second team, I would throw up in is the team that we actually just beat in the Orlando Magic because like I don't want to see him like in Florida in general like that freaking image of him during pre-draft workouts in a Miami jersey that makes me throw up even like looking at it. But yeah, those are my 2 teams that I would absolutely like throw up and stop watching the NBA if he's sent him to those teams where he went to those teams. Now for teams that I could see him on is if we sent him in a trade. I mean, how can you not mention the Spurs? If we got De'Aaron Fox or Stephon Castle or someone like that, I mean, come on. Like Trae Young with Wemby, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, I think they still have. Like what is the Spurs? I don't even know their starting lineup. I just know that they have like those guys. Let me look at the Spurs roster real quick because I'm not exactly 100% sure on it, but
I mean, they have Harrison Barnes is on there, which I completely forgot about.
Yeah. Champagne, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle. Like him and Wemby would be like completely unstoppable. Like they would probably be the new Golden State Warriors. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I absolutely.
They take them by storm. So makes one who wants trying to get a ring, especially with Atlanta, but just seem to get a ring in general. Like I wouldn't mind sending him to San Antonio to pair him up with Wemby and go with some rings in San Antonio. And the last team I would say maybe Houston because they need point guard depth.
Maybe.
Because the starting point guard right now is Amen Thompson. So like, you have Trae Young. We got Trae Young. You got Amen Thompson at the 2. Kevin Durant at the 3, Jabari Smith at the 4, and then Sengun at the 5.
I can see that.
That's a great line.
So it's just sent to two young Texas teams. Well, Houston's not really young because they got Durant, but two young Texas teams, that aren't really desperate for a championship, but I'm gonna looking to get back into that championship atmosphere that they were in. Houston was just in it like 5-6 years ago when James Harden and Westbrook was still there and CP3. So those are my 4 teams.
I'm the 2 teams that I would just absolutely throw up. I think we see eye to eye. Speaking realistically, I think most realistic options would be the Miami Heat. And for obvious reasons, that would be absolutely terrible. I'm not going to say the Magic. I don't see the Magic as a realistic possibility anymore, only because of what they had to give up for Desmond Bane. And if we were to trade, now they can potentially land in a free agency if we somehow let him walk. But most likely, if Trae is going to be gone, we're going to trade him. And I just don't see Orlando being able to trade for Trae Young, especially knowing they have no draft capital anymore because they had to give up 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. I just don't see what they could offer that the Hawks would be really interested in. So I think Orlando's out of the question. So I'm going to leave it at Miami. Miami is just that one team that I see realistically that would just be absolutely disgusting. And that's for obvious reasons. I think his best fit to me, Jordan, you hit the nail on the head saying the San Antonio Spurs. I think that absolutely makes the most sense. Obviously that would mean them getting rid of De'Aaron Fox, which that could come to Atlanta, which would be absolutely incredible. And De'Aaron Fox, he's been dealing with injuries anyway, so it's not like they've really got a full taste of them yet. And if they were to get Trae Young, it'd probably be at the All-Star break, like I mentioned. So that's just half a season with De'Aaron Fox. They could kind of throw that idea out the window and get a guy like Trae Young. And Trae Young and Wemby obviously would be one of the best, if not the best, duo in the NBA.
No, that would be the best. I couldn't think of a better duo than that. Because LeBron's aging, so I wouldn't even say that Luka. I wouldn't say that Luka and LeBron would be the best duo because LeBron's up there and he's only gonna get. I hate to say this, but he's only going to get worse.
Absolutely. And the thing is you got a guy like Trae Young, which I think, again, we could all agree is the best playmaker in the NBA, with a guy like Wemby that's turning into a more versatile Giannis, if we ever thought that was possible. And especially with a year 2 Wemby, which means he still has room to grow, which means he's only going to get better.
Did y'all see that clip of his previous game? Not the one against the Pelicans. I guess the one that may have happened last night. But it was that possession where Wemby.
I think.
The only one other than the Pelicans, the only other game was their opening night against Dallas, and then they played Brooklyn. They played Brooklyn today.
They played Brooklyn today. Yeah, today.
Yeah, they did. Well, that's what I was saying. There was no game the other day is what I was saying.
Okay, well, then it was earlier today. Their game against Brooklyn. It was their game against Brooklyn. There's that possession where Wemby blocked somebody's layup off the glass. I don't know. I think Terrence Mann got the rebound, and then Wemby blocked Terrence Mann, got received possession of the ball, dribbled up the court, and pulled up a 3 from the timeline and just absolutely swished it. So, in the matter of 20 seconds, he got 2 insane blocks and a timeline 3. And I'm like, yeah, this dude is freaking broke.
Literally, just go back and watch Wemby's highlights against the Dallas Mavericks on opening night.
Blocks that game.
Oh, yeah, 9 blocks the other day.
He had 6 against Brooklyn, but I think the game that he had 9 against the Pelicans, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The one against the Pelicans, he had 9 blocks.
Yeah, that reverse windmill and one dunk he had in Dallas that's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my life.
And so for my second team, I will go ahead and move on though, because I know we have 3 games to talk about as well. The second team, I'm going to throw out a wild card team. that I think that, like, thinking about it, I think that this would be a home run for this team if they were to get Trae Young, and that's the Toronto Raptors. Think about Toronto has loads of draft capital. So that's one thing they could go ahead and
Yeah.
offer the Atlanta Hawks, and that's something the Hawks would be looking for. They could make room. They have Emmanuel quickly. They have RJ Barrett.
Wait, hold on. If we get Grady Dick out of this deal, I will buy that jersey so dang fast.
Imagine if we got
Grady Dick.
Imagine if we could have Dick on our back.
Fast.
You know where I thought? You know where I thought that was going? I thought you were saying
Here's
like if Trae Young and
I don't
Grady
know.
Dick were teammates and they did
No.
like a they did like a little picture together. You know what I mean? Just put the two names together.
If we trade Trent to Toronto and get Grady Dick out of the deal, I will buy that jersey so fast.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Literally like. Not even that, I will. Not even that, I'll go into the freaking like customizable jerseys and just like put like maybe like Dix and then like number 69 or something like that.
Or you could just straight up put I heart Dick.
Yes.
Could you imagine how insane the jersey swap would be if Harry the Hawk and Grady Dick did a jersey swap?
Dude, that would break the internet, dog.
I don't think it can get. I'm gonna think that it'll get worse than any blacks and that was worse than that. Maybe Kobe White, maybe Trae Young.
Hey, get Young Dick and then Josh Giddey in the background.
That. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But see, look, look, here's the thing: that they have two guards. They could get rid of one of them. And just imagine pairing Trae Young with Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram. That's right there. It's already a point guard and 2-4 duo trio. That would just be perfect. The Raptors have very underrated bench depth. So and we already said that we could see the Raptors being like sneaky playing teams. So imagine if they were to land like Trae Young at the All-Star break. That could elevate them to me. They would be above a playing team, and they could be a dark horse contender and be like this year's Indiana Pacers in the NBA playoffs. That's kind of like my dark horse team. So Spurs would be the obvious choice. Heat would be disgusting, and I'm gonna have the Toronto Raptors as kind of a little dark horse, if you will.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess with that being said, we can go ahead and start breaking down the 3 matchups that we've had so far this year. Speaking of the Raptors, that's who we played this previous Wednesday on opening night, which was a very anticipated matchup because this is a matchup between a Eastern Conference dark horse and the Toronto Raptors, and then on paper, Eastern Conference juggernaut and the Atlanta Hawks. And the Hawks were heading into this game with a completely clean injury report. Like no injuries whatsoever, fully healthy roster, nothing holding us back. Well, we lost this game 138-118. And I know I said at the start of this podcast, you can excuse injury so far in the Magic and the Thunder game. This game, you can't excuse that because, like I just said, we had a fully healthy roster. So I think, and like I also said, like you can blame the injuries if you want for like the horrible 3-game start or bad 3-game start. I'm not going to say horrible, but there's a lot of inner issues.
I'm not blaming that at all. I'm not going to blame that at all, honestly.
I don't really think you can because there's a lot of inner issues that we're going to get in here in a little bit that I think were fully displayed in this game against Toronto. So I'll go ahead and give a quick recap of how the game went, and we can go ahead and start breaking it down. So, I mean, the game was very competitive up until like midway through the third quarter.
Yeah, which is exactly when I got to the studio, by the way. I'm going to like to point that out.
Yeah, the moment John got to the studio and we were watching the Hawks game, that's when all heck broke loose, and there's just no turning back.
Yeah.
Which, so the Raptors, they had a 5-point lead heading into the break. And just in the first half alone, when we were one of the group chats, we are kind of critiquing the game, and it was a very odd first half. And it's just the Hawks offense and the chemistry that we have with Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis, Zachary Ricochet wasn't really fully displayed. And a lot of their offense was coming off at the free throw line, and then a lot of turnovers for both teams. I want to go and point out. So a lot of our points came at the free throw line, and then off of defensive miscues from the Toronto Raptors that were turned into Hawks points. There wasn't a lot of instances where the Hawks had a true possession, and we were able to really see that chemistry flow, except a couple instances. Well, it was like we talked about in the preseason, how we talked about, Quinn Snyder's kind of transitioning this team to use its weapons on all cylinders, not just have Trae Young be the playmaker, but let Dyson be a playmaker, let Jalen Johnson, Zachary Ricochet be a playmaker. We saw a lot of that in terms of inside scoring, a lot of baseline cuts, a lot of off-screen movement. That was kind of displayed, but not completely. But the downfall for the Atlanta Hawks, especially in the second half, was the amount of inside points in the paint that Toronto got, which is 82, almost 90 points in the paint.
They got 86 straight.
86 points in the paint. So that's almost 90 of their 136. Well over half their points came from the inside, which just obviously displays how bad our interior defense was. But then also the fast break points, which was completely lopsided. I don't have the exact number, but
it was 34.
34. So 34 fast break points to our 13, 14?
Turnovers, you mean? We had
fast break points. I like the fast break comparisons.
Fast break points, they had 34, we had 11.
Yeah. So that's like 23, I think?
Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of turnovers on both sides. Toronto had 19, we had 15. But then there's also a lot of fouls on both sides. Toronto had 31, and the Hawks had 24. So it was a very ugly game offensively for both teams. Ours was just uglier. We made the most mistakes. We gave up the most defensive miscues that just led to easy fast break opportunity for the Raptors. But the thing I kind of want to hone in on before I kick it off to y'all was our interior defense. And this wasn't just an instant where we were soft in the paint. This is because Clay Capella, he's gone. We have Kristaps Porzingis. We have Nneka Okongwu. We have Muhammad Gay. All of our big men now, they're not soft interior defenders. Like, they will come at you at the rim. But that's not how Toronto was getting their 86 points inside. A lot of it was on fast breaks, but on their true offensive possession, we were playing zone defense, a lot of zone defense, and we were just getting cooked with a lot of off-ball movement. For instance, you had many instances where Quickly or Brandon Ingram would take a screen, roll inside, and then both on the right and the left side, you would have either Scotty Barnes or someone else coming on the other baseline making cuts, and it would be a 2-on-3 situation where we had to just pick a person to guard, and they ditch it to either the right or the left for an easy inside point. And a lot of that credit to I never get his last name right, but is it Jacob Potel? I never get his last name right.
I think it's Total.
I think it's Total, yeah.
Toronto center. Give him credit. He played a phenomenal game, and he was a source of a lot of their inside scoring. Now, to his credit, a lot more versatile and acrobatic than I gave him credit for. He is a tough guy to defend inside, but it's that off-ball movement, it's that around the screen, the baseline, the cuts jamming in between defenders that the Hawks could not figure out how to guard. And it was odd because Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker did share the court a lot in that game. And that's where our interior defense was supposed to be the strongest when then two shared the court. And that just wasn't the case. Our defensive chemistry was just off the mark. The zone defense did not work to the offensive scheme. And Quinn Snyder had no answers for it the entire game. That's kind of something he pointed out in the post-game conference. And it was just a frustrating night. You could just see it on his face the entire night. And that was the biggest killer. So that mixed in with a lot of turnovers and fast break points for Toronto was the biggest killer for the Atlanta Hawks. And I just want to get y'all's opinion. Did y'all maybe what something else y'all saw or anything else you want to emphasize on that horrific opening night performance?
I mean, again, selfishly, I just wish I had stayed at my dorm and we were only down by like 7. I think like Nico, again, and guys, for those I want to say this out. Us three, we're 0-4 for watching Hawks games together.
Yeah, like legitimately.
Because because like the first game we watched was fighting up against the Raptors when we lost Jalen Johnson and lost by 3 against Toronto.
Yep.
The second game we watched together was the playing game against the Magic. We lost that game when Trae Young got rejected. The third game we watched was the preseason game against Houston. Lost that game, and then as soon as I pull up to the studio to watch the game with you guys, we lose. And a 20-point loss against the Raptors. So I just think that we're cursed. And if we go to games together, then we're just gonna tank the season. But maybe not. But we'll see. But no. We're going back to the game. I also don't like. I think that like Dyson didn't really obviously, like Toronto also like play their bench more. Play their bench. Well, a lot more than we play our bench because we sat at 3 guys. Like AC didn't play. Dante didn't play, and neither did Vic Reggie. And like our bench wasn't really a lot of help in this game. Besides Okongwu and Minna. So because Luke Kennard struggled this game. Shooting 2 for 7 and 1 for 5 from 3. You can't have that around how much we paid him to do what he does, which is be like Kyle Korver 2.0. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think to me, that's what I took away from this game. And our bench didn't help out. Whereas Toronto's bench helped out a lot there because Grady Dick had 21 points on the bench, and Jamal Shed had 10 points. So. And they just played more of the bench than we played ours. So I just think that their bench didn't step up and start to do most of the work. Which, like in theory, like you want starters to, obviously do most of the work, but obviously, like you want your bench to help out too, and like that's. I just didn't see our bench help out as much as I thought that they needed to.
So yeah, especially with our dad, that's should never be the case.
Yeah. So,
Andrew, what you got for us?
So we've kind of spent a lot of time on this game, and we've still got 2 other games to cover. So I'm not gonna. And y'all guys covered pretty much everything.
Sorry about that.
I'm not going to spend – no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I'm not going to spend a lot of time because we do have to move on. So I'm just going to say my quick little thing, and then I'll go ahead and get started on the Magic game. But basically, yeah, when you look down to this, it's not as Hawks fans, it's very easy to get discouraged when you see a score like that. But I think one thing you have to remember is that it is opening night and things like this happen all the time. Because you could say, yeah, you have preseason right here. You should have been ready. Preseason's not the regular season. It's never has been and it never will be. It's a completely different animal because you've actually got stakes to play for, and you've actually got your stars playing 30-plus minutes a game. So when you take a look at this, it's like I said, it's easy to get discouraged. Now, obviously, if I had to describe this game in a few sentences, I'm just going to say we looked exactly like we did the last 5 seasons. And I'm talking about we get out rebounded, we get outplayed, we get out coached. And I'm going to get a lot of credit to Darko Djokovic, the head coach for the Raptors, because he's a smart guy. And that's why the Raptors are headed towards such a peak direction in their franchise right now, because they've got a guy that knows how to utilize the skill sets that these young players have. Because, I mean, these are guys that for the most part are really inexperienced. RJ Barrett, he's playing the biggest role he's ever had to play in his career because he didn't get this kind of spotlight when he was in New York, but he's playing it very well. He's rebounding, he's scoring points. He had about 30 points along with his 8 rebounds. And then you've got Scotty Barnes, who's got 9 assists. He's never been that kind of playmaker until Darko took over, and now Scotty knows how to set plays for his teammates and share the ball. And Chase, you talked about Patel and how he's able to utilize his size to get a lot of rebounds, and that's probably my biggest ick about this game is that the Hawks, when it came to rebound, we got out rebounded by 20. And a lot of those rebounds created those second chance scoring opportunities for Toronto, which really widened the gap. And I mean, let's face it, Trae Young did not play a great game. You can look at his 22 points, but I'm going to counter that and say, but look at his 5 for 14 from the field. Look at his 1 for 7 from the three-point line. And that goes for the entire team. We shot 10 for 35 from the three-point line, while Toronto, on the other hand, shot, let's see, well, I guess they shot 6 for 25. So in the grand scheme of things, not that much better. But I mean, they shot nearly 60% from the field. So
we shot better from three than them. So
well, I know that's why I just said. So I took away that point. But I mean, from the field altogether, Toronto was just a lot more sufficient. They went on these longer runs. They were utilizing the paint, like you said, Chase, and we were just spaced out the wrong way. We were playing zone pretty much from tip-off to the final buzzer, and they just knew how to move around it. Trae Young's a liability at the top. That's why we had Dyson, and that's why we bring in Nickeil Alexander-Walker to counter that. But when the guards get past Trae Young and Nickeil and Dyson have to step up, Kristaps and Zachary were totally miscued where the off-ball guys were going, and the paint was always wide open. I mean, it's just poor coaching. Well, it's not poor coaching because Quinn Snyder's not a bad coach, but we got severely out-coached in that game, and that's all it comes down to. But I will go ahead and get into the Magic game because this is where things start to brighten up a little bit. Big division game. Magic had a big win at home against the Miami Heat to open up the season, and coming into this game, you're really looking at this as a must win because then you come back home the very next day on a back-to-back to play the defending champs. And I mean, let's face it, the Magic, we know they're going to be one of the top competitors in the Eastern Conference because of what they showcased last season. And now you throw Desmond Bane into the mix, which Desmond Bane has looked absolutely incredible. And this game started off the way the play-in game went against the Orlando Magic. It was physical from top to bottom. I mean, at the end of the first quarter, I was convinced benches were about to clear because, I mean, the officials in this game were absolutely terrible, but it was terrible on both sides. I mean, you had just the slightest ounce of physical contact was going to send somebody to the free throw line, which really got both head coaches head on a swivel. And I really wish they would have let the players just lash out that physicality toward each other because that would have just made for a smoother game and just entertainment wise, just a better game altogether. But it seemed like there's an interruption every single play because the refs couldn't keep the whistles out of their mouth. And then Pablo Ventura was fired up. Franz Wagner was fired up. Wendell Carter Jr. was fired up. And then on the Hawks, I mean, of course, Trae Young was banting with the players the entire night like Trae Young does. But I will say, and I'm not going to, because I like to actually share the game recap with you guys. So I'm not going to spend 10 minutes talking about it, but because I want to hear y'all's point too. So I'm just going to say one point and then I'll let you guys take the floor. But
was that a shot?
What?
Were you taking a shot at me?
No.
A little bit, yeah.
We're okay.
I was kidding, bro.
I can't do anything right. Spain plays about everything.
I'm just joking, bro. But you did kind of take up the entire game, which is fine. I mean, you did your work. But yeah, 3-point shooting to me again was very scarce. I mean, 27% from the field when you surround your guys with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who showcased great shooting abilities in Minnesota. Then, of course, on the bench, Luke Kennard, who actually didn't take a single shot that entire night, despite the fact that he got 20. I'm sorry, no,
look at our score.
Yeah, he scored 3 points. I just said I was looking at Dante's on accident. But 3-point wise, again, Luke Kennard supposed to be the main dish out spot 3-point shooter when he comes off the bench. Didn't take a single three, which I don't see as a bad thing. But I really think the Hawks were trying to switch up their play style in this game to counter what the Magic do defensively when it comes to their physicality. Because we want to dominate the paint in this game. I think a lot of that had to do with the frustration we had against the Toronto Raptors offensively, and that worked. In the first, I mean, you look at the way Mohamed Gay played. I know he only had 13 points, but man, that second half, Mohamed Gay was a freaking threat. He was about the only guy aside from Nickeil Alexander-Walker that could hit a three in that game. But I mean, in just terms of the defensibility, Mohamed Gay had a nasty block. Dyson Daniels had a good block. Okongwu had 3 blocks in the game. So right off the gate, in terms of interior defense, the Hawks prioritized that much more than we did against Toronto. And I think that has a lot to do because the Magic have a lot of good weapons when it comes to inside scoring. And then I'll let one of you guys talk about fourth quarter Trae, because, I mean, let's be honest, Trae Young in the fourth quarter, easily the best version of Trae Young we've seen so far this season, is really the front runner while we were able to come back from that game because we were down by 13 with about 3 minutes left of the third quarter.
I mean,
when you guys taking it?
I mean, JC got it.
Oh yeah. Well, before we talk about fourth quarter Trae, I do want to kind of like piggyback off what you said, Andrew, talk about the interior defense. And I think the biggest key for that, I mean, you compare it, 86 points in the paint for Toronto, and then we turn around, we only allow the Magic to score a whopping 52 in the paint. That's about that's less than half of their total points, forcing them to get a lot of their shots from the outside, which they didn't shoot well either. They shot less than 30%. And then a couple from the free throw line, but they also missed 13 free throws, which is a big hell. We didn't even talk about that. They left 13 points at the charity stripe, and obviously in basketball in general, but especially the NBA, if you're not making your free throws, that's going to cost you. And that's exactly what happened to Orlando. But, the thing about the inside defense that I think we kind of picked up on was we cleaned up what happened against Toronto. We limited the inside movement, the off-ball movement, and we forced them to take a lot of their inside shots by just going up on the big man like Mohamed Gay or another instance, I guess Onyeka Okongwu as well, and even Defy Dante, who got a majority of his minutes in the first quarter, and then we didn't really see him the rest of the game. But even then, he made shots difficult inside. So instead of allowing them to cut baseline and around screens, we cut those passing lanes off, and we made them go up with the big man. Like you just said, Andrew, Mohamed Gay played a phenomenal game. And to the Magic's credit, they did make a lot of difficult inside shots. They got a lot of and ones, but I don't consider that necessarily bad interior defense. That's just tough offensive shots, which we can afford to give up. I only racked up 107 and gave the Hawks a win. But fourth quarter Trae Young, Andrew. I mean, Trae Young, was active. He was still there for playmaking ability, but his scoring didn't turn on until the fourth quarter. He got a lot of tough inside baskets, and then he hit the deep three in the final minutes. I kind of felt like the dagger that really just pulled the Hawks apart and didn't really look back. But I mean, I don't think we can talk about the fourth quarter without talking about Asa Newell and how much he made an impact in his first true minutes as Atlanta Hawk. Hit a corner three to tie the game for his first shot and point as Atlanta Hawk, and then followed that up with an alley-oop dunk flushed by Trae Young.
That was the very next possession too, and that was a big 5-point swing because that's what really pushed the momentum in the Hawks' favor in that Was that the third quarter or the fourth quarter?
That was the fourth. This was all in the fourth quarter because the shot by Ace Neal in the corner tied the game, and then we got a stop on the defensive end and turned a fast break into an alley-oop dunk that got the Hawks up by 2 right before the Magic timeout. But ever since that, we never looked back. And Trae Young just all kind of praises about Ace Neal after the game and just how much he already impacted the team in his first couple minutes as an Atlanta Hawk. But Jordan, I'll kind of flip it to you now, and you can give your thoughts on this. The Hawks' first win of the season before we move on to the Thunder matchup.
So yeah, I mean, so like something that y'all didn't touch on, I don't believe, is like the defense, and like we held Paolo Banchero to 4 for 15 shooting,
yes,
0 for 5 from 3, and when you shut him down, holding him to under 20 points, like you can't like lose that type of game. I mean, yes, Franz Wagner did step up and hit 10 for 17, 2 for 5 from 3. But, I mean, like, Wendell Carter only scored 10 points. Desmond Bane shot kind of poorly, shooting 5 for 14, 1 for 7 from 3. And then Jalen Suggs had 11. And then like I was saying, like the Magic bench didn't really do anything besides Tristan Silva shooting 5 for 10. And then Anthony Black shooting 3 for 4, finishing with 8 points. So like makes like I was saying, like the Hawks played way better defensively, shutting those guys down.
I will say, you're absolutely right, Jordan. Like, we played a lot better defensively, but still what the Hawks lack, and it was also a big problem in the Thunder game, which we'll talk about a little more when we recap that one, is our transition offense is just dreadful. And it minimizes what we do on the defensive end, because we can get a defensive stop, get a big defensive rebound, and then especially in the Toronto game and in the first half of that Magic game, we would turn right around and then turn the ball over before we even get across half court. And that just takes away all the effort we make defensively, and we're giving them second chances. And that's something I'd love to see the Hawks just clean up. It's an early miscue. We're only 3 games in, but that problem's really going to drag us dead in the water if we don't pick it up quickly.
And it was poor, but I will say there was a bright spot in that fourth quarter, and that's why I like this win so much, because it wasn't a clean win by any means. I mean, it was pretty even fight in the first quarter, but for the most part, the second and third quarter were not good quality basketball from the Atlanta Hawks. But the fourth quarter, I mean, look at the run that we went on. At one point, we had a 21-9 run going to start the fourth quarter, and that all came, like you said, Chase, transition offense. That's what really swung the run in the Hawks' favor, is we were getting those big interior stops. The Magic were struggling from the three-point line. They couldn't rely on their big scorers and Paolo Banchero. Franz Wagner was the only guy that could really score for the Magic in the fourth quarter. But once we contained him, we were able to get the ball in our own possession. 2-3 passes down the court led to either a dish out kick in the corner where Kongwu had a really big 3 in that game, or there's a guy in the paint. I mean, Dyson Daniels inside scoring in the fourth quarter was incredible, and that's where he got – I think he actually got 4 of his 6 points in the final 5 minutes of that fourth quarter. And those are 2 really big contact finishes from Dyson Daniels. And Jalen Johnson with his 12, I think 7 of his 12 points came in that fourth quarter as well. Again, down the stretch on this transition, tough contact points at the shots at the rim. And then rebounding was so much better. There's just a lot of better things that we saw in this game, specifically in that fourth quarter. And it showed that though we don't look good altogether, when you look at the game for face value, at least we know this team can fight with a little adversity on their back.
And I mean, we were headed into that game without Zachary, without Kristaps, and we all talked about that. Just alludes. This is a death we knew the Hawks had coming into the season. It was on full display, and like you said, with a little adversity, it shows that we can pick up the slack with the debt we have, and we're still able to compete, which leads us to the Thunder game where we face.
Before we get to the Thunder game, does anybody agree that Paolo needs to be under investigation for potential betting on that random spot up 3 he took in the final possession for the Magic before the Hawks?
Even Bob
scrambled on the ball to get the rebound and put the game to rest. But
even Bob Rathbun was like,
especially the way he was shooting so poor leading up to that possession. I don't know what enticed him to throw that shot up.
It was like the Bulls commentator. We remember that famous, infamous Valentine shot against a. Bob Rathman kind of had one of those moments. Like, even he was shocked. He was like, "Pablo, what are you doing? That's a horrible take."
Yeah.
But
I guess we get into the last game.
yeah, and Joyner, yeah, I was gonna say Joyner, you can go ahead and stop with that one because I wasn't able to watch this one live. I know you and Andrew were. So Joyner, I want you to go ahead and open this one up and just talk about what went wrong here.
Well, I mean, for starters, we were down. Well, for starters, pun intended, we were down 3 starters.
Yeah.
With KP out with flu-like symptoms. Zachary was out. Zachary was out with I think a knee bruise or something like that, and then Jalen Johnson was out as well with some with an injury or something. So we were already down 3 starters. But the starter. But the Thunder were also like hurt as well because because like Jalen Williams still hasn't played for them all season. But I digress. Chet Holmgren was the big factor for this game. He killed us, man. Like 31 points, 11 rebounds. But this was a very interesting game because it was a battle of family. Because I don't know if y'all knew this, but SGA and Nall are cousins. I don't know if y'all knew that. They're cousins.
And of course the Wallace brothers.
Right, yeah, but
Tate and Wallace, T. Wallace.
Don't know about Nall and SGA being cousins.
I actually did it. I actually had no idea.
Yeah, no, they're both. They're both from Canada. I don't know exactly how they're cousins. But yeah, they're cousins. So also the like I said, the Wallace brothers.
Yep.
But
I guess SGA and Nall both have very kind of similar last names in Gilders Alexander than Alexander Walker. I don't know if that has anything to do with their family tree that connects them to cousins.
It's gotta be because they're cousins. So like it's gotta be like an aunt or something.
Yeah, it is very interesting though. That is very interesting. I actually didn't know that though. That's actually
I had no idea. That's crazy actually.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, just I mean, but like on the Hawks side, I mean, we shot better from 3, but they killed us like everyone else like true shooting. My leading scorer was actually with 17 points. Trae Young shot 5 for 12. Scoring 15 points, and Okongwu and Gay both had 11 points each, and Dyson had 8 points. But then Newell and Craigie off our bench had 12 and 13 off our bench. But I mean, other than that, our bench didn't really help out much, which means like also wasn't the case for the Thunder. But I mean, like when you have 2 starters scoring 30 points plus, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and I think, and you're right, and right off the bat, when you're looking at the box score, I mean, just watching the game in general, the only thing that went well for the Hawks offensively actually was the 3-point line, which is in good big contrast.
We were in it throughout the entire first half, I would say. The first half, we had a chance, but that third quarter, they just. It was like the George Kittle meme. We had him in the first half. Not gonna lie. That's exactly what it was. We had him in the first half. Then they flipped their switch and said, screw you guys. There's a reason why we're the defending champs. And
the first half was definitely an interesting ball game for sure. But going back to what I was saying was this is the best our 3-point shots ever looked, and you saw that right off the gate. I mean, we shot 41% from the 3-point line, knocking down a total of 16. But I mean, Joyner said it. You talk about the problem. You can look at SGA's 30-point, but Chet Holmgren for OKC set the tone, and he set the tone early. 31 points, and he had 13 of the 31 in the first quarter.
Yeah, he had 4 threes in the first quarter.
But I will say, just going back on Chet Holmgren, since we're on the topic of them, Onyeka Okongwu opened up the game with an absolute disgusting poster on Chet Holmgren to tie the game at 2. And from that moment, I was like, my goodness, we're going to have one heck of a ball. We're going to have a ball game for the ages against the defending champs. And like Joyner said, for the first half, it was shaping up to be that way. And then later in the game, in the third quarter, after the game started to get out of reach, Muhammad Gay had a nasty transition poster going down the baseline on Chet Holmgren. So you can look at his 31 points, but he did get postered twice. Take that as you will. But I
that's defense though. Offense is the thing that gets you points. So
yeah, I was just throwing that out there just so we can have at least something to flex. Champs. But SGA, I mean, 30 points. What are you gonna do? It's everything you thought SGA was gonna be, and it's even more enticing when you're watching him play against your former team, and you just realize how truly desperate defenders are when you're playing SGA. I mean, think about the whole thing for face value. Going into this game, though it was OKC was coming off an off day and the Hawks were coming off a back-to-back, OKC went into double overtimes in their first 2 games. So they've played 4 extra quarters than the Atlanta Hawks have, even though they both played 2 games at the time. Yet SGA's out here settling himself in the post, and he really analyzes what's going on the court. What his emphasis of attack needs to be, and that's what makes defenders so helpless because they don't know what he's going to do because he's so versatile and so athletic altogether, and he can take a shot from just about anywhere. So you have him standing at the post, and he's looking around, moving his teammates around, trying to see if he can create some sort of separation, whether it's an off-ball screen down the other end of the court, or there's a guy at the top of the key that's trying to signal for SGA to get the ball or dish the ball to him and then roll around the defender. But you don't know what SGA is going to do because it looks like his eyes are going everywhere and he's moving a lot. And once he decides that, hey, I need to take the shot for myself, he'll either draw you into him and try to draw a foul, or just create enough space for him to take a mid-range shot, which he makes 90% of the time. And then you mix that in with Chet Holmgren, who's absolutely filthy at his size, and then Hartenstein. I mean, that big man deal right there between Holmgren and Hartenstein is absolutely lethal, and you're helpless even when you have big guys. Now, we could have obviously used Kristaps Porzingis in this game, but to counter that, I love what Quinn Snyder did with the starting lineup, mixing in Muhammad Gay, who had that big second half in Orlando, with Onyeka Okongwu, who's been a much better version of Clint Capella in these first 3 games. And together they combined for 22 points on very efficient shooting. They both had a couple of 3-point shots. And in terms of rebounding, Okongwu had 12 and Muhammad Gay had 6. But I mean, and they combined for 3 blocks. So us defensively, when it came to our big men, did their thing. But Chase, I'll let you. I mean, you're looking. I'm assuming you might have went back and looked at the highlights or something.
I did.
But aside from OKC's big men and aside from SGA, that was only half of the story. You tell me what the Hawks did wrong that really led to the 17-point gap.
I mean, I think, we were talking about it earlier this morning with some people from Church Angel. I think you said exactly right. I think to me, I place a lot of the blame on Trae Young. And Trae Young did very well in the first half in terms of ball movement. You look at his numbers, he finished with 15 points, 10 assists, but 8 of his 10 assists came in the first half. He only had 2 assists in that entire second half. I think when we were talking about it earlier this morning, Andrew, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about Trae Young did a really good job spreading the floor and sharing the ball and creating a lot of movement and some offensive chances in the first half. But then in the second half, he kind of changed into a different player, and he tried to be like the superhero almost, like the key factor to set the Hawks apart to be the defending champs when he didn't have to. And it ended up hurting the Atlanta Hawks. He wasn't as involved in playmaking. He tried to do a lot of things himself, which turned out to be costly. And it slowed down a lot of that momentum until it was kind of too far too late. Or too little, too late, and
it had that version of Trae.
It kind of highlights what we were worrying about at the start of the season. We saw it a little bit in the preseason, and Trae Young. This is obviously the most stacked team Trae Young's ever had, and we kind of feared that Trae Young would play a little too loosely and try to do too much instead of using the weapons that's around him. And hopefully this is something that Trae will start to ease into and adapt to as the season progresses. But I think what we really need is we need last year Trae Young. Last year, Trae Young was the most Steve Nash version of Trae Young we've ever seen. And to me, it's the best version of Trae Young we've ever seen. And if we could get that Steve Nash side with the team he has now, it would fit perfectly into Quinn Snyder's system. I think it'll progress the Hawks into the Eastern Conference juggernaut everybody predicts them to be.
Yeah, I like that point a lot. Jordan, do you have anything to add?
I mean, and something else I don't think we mentioned, we talk about how bad that the Magic shot at the free throw line, but we just shot just as bad.
Yeah.
Shooting 14 for 21, 67%. Also, like turnovers also cost us, and points in the paint as well. I mean, like Chet. He had like the two elite big men and Hartenstein and Chet helping him get 50 points in the paint. Like, you just can't have that. And then the fouls also. Like, we had 23 fouls. You can't. But I will say this. Like, I know that Shea goes to the line a lot. We only sent to the line like twice because he only shot 4 free throws, which is very interesting.
Yeah, which is very odd.
Yeah. It's like kudos to us for allowing him to like shoot more from the field and not more from the free throw line.
And that just goes
get allow free points. So
yeah, and that just goes to back.
We made him earn it at least. Sorry,
exactly. That just goes back to how helpless the defenders are, though, because we did give SGA space, which, funny enough, is probably the best way to defend SGA. But then again, it's just like, and this is why I hate about Trae Young, and it's really not his fault. It is his fault a little bit, but he's just so much of a defensive liability, and this is something else Chase and I was talking about this morning. And I know, given that his size, he's only 6'1". And he's probably 160 soaking wet is what this one dude at church said this morning, which I thought.
Just put into perspective, look how scrawny me and Andrew are, and we're close to Trae Young's weight.
Exactly. So, but then again, it all comes to mindset and heart and what you want to display on the court. It really seems like Trae Young doesn't put any effort to make a defensive stop. It seems like what he wants to do defensively is to make his presence known at the wing. But once he gets blown by, which he kind of intentionally allows to happen, he'll try to, for a last resort, wrap his arm around the waist and poke the ball out from the other end and just hope that Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker will pick up and guard that. But when you're guarding guys at the high level like SGA, who knows how to move inside the paint and create space for himself, once he blows by the first line of attack, SGA's got the shot up before Dyson Daniels or Nickeil Alexander-Walker even have a hope of contesting the shot. So it seems like, yes, if you put a body on SGA, he's going to be smart enough to draw the foul. But if you give him space, you've got to make sure that you have a guy in his perimeter at all times. And you can't do that when Trae Young's this much of a defensive liability or not unless he puts an effort. If Trae Young just stands around him and at least forces him to pivot one direction or the other, then you can utilize the teammates around you to block off any open shots he may have if he gets by Trae Young. But if you're going to let him intentionally get by you, you're only doing your other teammates a disservice. And that made it way too easy for SGA. And then I think you talked about, Chase, and Jordan, you too, first half, very competitive. But I think what really killed us is how we opened that third quarter. And it had a lot to do with what you said, Chase. Trae Young just completely took away the playmaking aspect and didn't utilize the teammates he had around him and wanted to try to be the difference maker when he was doing just fine dishing the ball out and letting his teammates score inside and him creating those scoring opportunities for his teammates. And when you get, and I think that's what led OKC to get so much momentum so quick because it caused Quinn Snyder to call an early timeout because OKC opened up the second half on such a big run. And once you let a team like the defending champs in OKC considering how complete they are from top to bottom, you can't afford to get behind a team like that and try to crawl back in one half. Because once you've lost all that momentum against a team like OKC, it's near impossible to come back. If you want to beat him, you have to play with them for 4 quarters. And we didn't. And to cap it all off, this is what really disgusts me. But there was a possession. Now, the game was kind of already out of reach. The Hawks got a steal. Trae Young was given the ball on a 3-on-1 fast break. You had Nickeil Alexander-Walker and I think Dyson Daniels running the floor with him. Trae Young was at the top of the key. You had Nickeil Alexander-Walker making a cut towards the paint and Dyson Daniels standing in the corner. Trae Young could have easily driven in, either taken the layup or dish it out of Dyson in the corner or gave it to Nickeil Alexander-Walker on the opposing side of the defender on the other side of the paint. But instead, for whatever boneheaded reason, he decides to take 2 steps back, fire up a 3 when he was off balance and completely missed. He almost missed the rim. And yes, the game was out of reach, but you've got to wonder, for a year 7 veteran like Trae Young, you asked for these weapons. You asked for these players. So why aren't you using them? It's just, I love Trae Young, but there's sometimes when he plays like this that I just can't defend the guy. And if we want to win games, he's going to have to learn how to be a playmaker. He's going to have to learn to be a Steve Nash and not a Steph Curry.
I'm going to say this to not necessarily defend Trae Young, but just give him some slack. This is only game 3 of the NBA season, and they still gotta build chemistry.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
and I do agree with you, Jordan, 100%. That it is going to take at least a week or 2 until we really see the true identity of this team.
We talked about, like, we saw like clips of it like in the preseason where our chemistry just looked on fire. I think that's just a sample size of what this team could be. Like you said, Jordan, we're only 3 games into the season, so this isn't the point where we need to start overreacting. And I think, like you said, Trae Young is a 7-year veteran. He's the best playmaker in the league. He's smarter than this. He knows how to use the weapons around him. He just has to adjust because he's never had as loaded as a team as he has now. And I can almost guarantee you, give us 2-3 weeks from now, we'll be doing a podcast together and we'll be talking about a completely different side of Trae Young.
I like that confidence. I like it. Let's end this on a high note and not sad. I know I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there.
Yeah.
That game last night just really upsetted me because that first half had so much promise, and that second half, it just seemed like our heart wasn't in it. And that just really made me upset about the Hawks. But
there's reasons.
We're just 3 games in.
Yeah. There's reasons to be upset. Don't get us wrong. But there's also a million reasons why we can't overreact yet.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Thank you for talking some sense into me.
Yeah. But I mean, do we have any of the closing remarks, or?
I think I said all I need to say.
We got a tough game on the road starting tomorrow against the Chicago Bulls team who still stands undefeated even without their star guard Kobe White. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one. But I will say, if there's any game for the Hawks to turn the tables, it's on the road against a pesky Chicago Bulls team, which Hawks fans know the Hawks never play good against Chicago.
This is a very favorable week for the Atlanta Hawks. So next time you hear from us, we'll be recapping tomorrow night's game in Chicago. And then we have we take a day break on Tuesday. We come back Wednesday night and we face the Brooklyn Nets on the road. And then Friday night, we are on the road against the Indiana Pacers for our very first NBA Cup group play game. And I would say that's a 4-game road trip because that Sunday we play in Cleveland. But at least 3 of those 4 road games, I think we should be able to win. Chicago's going to be a pesky game, but if we get by them, I think we could definitely beat Brooklyn on the road, and I think we should be able to handle Indiana on the road too. They don't look as strong without Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner, and then Cleveland all the way. Even though we looked really good against the Cleveland Cavaliers last year, and they have the best record in the league, that's definitely a game we can win, but it's going to be a pesky one.
What do y'all think about this court, by the way? I absolutely love this NBA court design. I mean, NBA Cup court design. It's one of my favorite court designs I've ever seen the Hawks display. Now, There's two guys in particular that I know very well that absolutely despise this court because they don't like the redness.
Yeah.
But I honestly think the different patterns of red, they kind of have a checkerboard pattern of different red that I absolutely love. But my favorite part that really I think just sets this court to the highest of high standards is the throwback hawk emblem inscripted inside the court itself. I think this court is beautiful. I don't know why some people hate it. I think this is freaking beautiful.
I mean, like I haven't had time to see the other courts, but I think ours is the best by far.
It just screams Atlanta. It just screams Atlanta.
Yeah,
I like it. I really do. Now I do see the people in your time about. I do see what they say about the red. I'm never a big fan of like a lot of red, especially on a court or a football field. But I think here the redeeming factor, like AJ said, I love how it's different shades of red. That sets it apart. And then also I love the original Hawks logo kind of spread all throughout the court. That is definitely a redeeming factor for it.
Yeah.
I kind of did skim through the other ones. I haven't seen all of them, but like you said, Jordan, out of all the ones I've seen, I think we definitely have the best. That's for sure.
They all have kind of the same design. Pretty much each NBA team kind of went with the same theme this year. They all had their city name on the across center court with some kind of emblem in the back. But I think this one just works the best, and I think that's the best logo you can inscript on a court right there. Because it's just the way the wing just kind of spreads from one end to the other, like, and then the basketball and it's just freaking beautiful. I just think it's very well done.
Yeah, and we'll see it on display not too long ago, or not too long from now. But anything else that needs to be said before we conclude?
No, just excited to watch some more Hawks basketball starting tomorrow.
Absolutely, back in action, and
hopefully we can go on a big run here.
Yeah, we talked about, we know the miscues, we know what we need to fix. But we also know Quentin Snyder's a great head coach. He's going to make the necessary adjustments. He knows how to handle weapons. He had a stacked team in Utah, took them to multiple playoff appearances. He'll know what to do here. We got to trust our GM, trust Quentin Snyder, and trust this team.
This is their own version of trust the process right here.
Yeah, we're just trusting the process, except this time it's going to work.
Yeah, except
so because shout out to Joel Embiid basically just shooting down his whole team. I don't know if y'all. Well, I guess we'll end on this because we can always say, hey, we're not like Joel Embiid.
4 points in the first game. There's no way he shot down his teammates.
Well, he literally said after he was talking about the fact that he's not happy with the minutes he's getting, and he literally said, if I'm gonna get short stints, I might as well just stay home and spend time with my family. At this point, Philadelphia's probably like, go right ahead, Joel Embiid. We ain't gonna miss you a bit. This is a VJ. Welcome to the VJ Edgecombe experience.
Yeah. Tyrese Maxey's playing very good. They got what's his face back? The guy with the fingernails.
Jeremy Kane.
Jeremy Kane, yeah.
He's back. Listen, Joel Embiid. You had a season-ending injury last year. It was a very gruesome injury. It's a hard injury to recover from. You played awful in your first game. Why do you think you deserve minutes?
And the reason they're not playing him is just because he's not healthy yet. It's not it's not a performance reason. It's a health reason. You think Joel Embiid, out of all people, would understand that. But, I mean, hey, the Sixers, they're a fun team to watch right now. And if Paul George would stop playing around, add Paul George to the mix, they could be even more fun to watch. But I digress. But with that being said, for myself, Andrew, and Jordan, we will be back to talk more Hawks basketball. Hopefully we talk about 3 wins in a row. Only time will tell.
Is it 3 or 4 wins?
We'd be playing Sunday. So actually, I guess it depends on when we record on Sunday. Because we'll be either recording before or after the Cavs game. So maybe 3. We'll either have 3 or 4 games to recap. It depends on when we decide to do that podcast.
Yeah,
we'll figure that out when the time comes.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
go!